What is a neuron? Hi, I'm Hayley from Parallel Coaching, and in today's video we're going to explore neurons, and these are part of the nervous system which you need to know about as part of your level 2 and level 3 Anatomy and Physiology exam. Now before I go into today's content, there are 3 mock questions that will help you test your knowledge. All you need to do if you're on our blog is scroll down and you'll see the mock questions, or if you're not on our blog yet, click the link and it will take you straight there. Also, if you're on our YouTube, hit the red subscribe button so that you can get more videos just like this. Now, a neuron is part of the nervous system, and it's basically another name of saying a nerve cell. So it's the cells within our nervous system. Now, it's got a very unique role in the fact that it takes messages, so it sends and receives messages to and from the brain. Now, the brain is part of our central nervous system, but these neurons make up our peripheral nervous system where they're sending information backwards and forwards to the rest of our body. Now, the neuron has this distinct role, but it also has a very distinct structure, and it looks a little bit different to other cells, even though it has some of the same properties as other cells in our body. Now, when you look at a neuron, it's basically got a spiky end to it, it's then got a long thin tail, and then another spiky part at the other end. Now, these are really key because the whole role of a neuron is to send a signal, say from the brain all the way down to your toes. It's got to connect with other neurons in order to do that. It's almost like sending a message, or from traveling from one end of the country all the way to the other. You've got to join up and take lots of different routes all the way. So you join up lots of different roads on the one route that you're taking all the way down through the body. And that's essentially what's happening with the neurons. They all connect together in order to transmit information. And the structure of the neuron allows this to happen. First of all, you've got the axon, which is this long tail-like structure. And predictably, the role of this is to send the signal. So the longer the tail, the longer that signal can travel within one neuron before it's got to hop and change to another neuron. And that's really important because actually we've got some neurons in our body that are going to be longer than others. And we've got some that are used more than others, depending on the types of movements that we do regularly and the types of signals that we send regularly. But the axon is the long tail-like structure. Then we've got the little star shape on one end. Now this star shape is your dendrites, and these are fibrous roots that basically branch out from the axon, and they also reach out to the other neurons. So they allow all this connectivity to happen throughout the body. So from the brain all the way down through past other neurons, and sending signals to say switch on this neuron or send a message down this neuron or to stop the signal. Now that's basically sending the signal all the way through. But the dendrites, this star shape, surrounds this kind of cell body. Now the cell body of a neuron is just like a cell body of other cells in our body. And the idea here with the cell body is that it contains genetic information. It also contains small amounts of energy to allow the actual nerve cell to do its role. And it starts to process information. And it also includes the nucleus. So that's the cell body, surrounded by the dendrites. Then it runs into the axon, and then at the end you'll notice there are some more dendrites that reach out to the next nerve cell. Now a key thing here, one final bit of information about the structure of the neuron, is that there is a gap between the two neurons. So between one neuron and another there's this gap, and that happens at the end of the dendrites, and we call it a synapse. Now this gap, this synaptic gap, is basically whereby the electronic message stops. And that's what we call the electronic message of a neuron. It's going from one end of the dendrites all the way down through the axon, down to the other end where the dendrites are. That's electric. Then it gets to this point and it basically has this moment where it has to release a chemical signal of neurotransmitters across a gap to be able to get to the next neuron. Now they're not going to be connected directly. We have to have that information sent via neurotransmitters, which float over the gap and allow the signal to happen for the next neuron to start. So the idea is that you have this chain reaction basically, whereby one neuron signals the next one, and the neurotransmitters are basically the chemicals that jump the gap between the neurons. So they're your key parts of your neuron. And there's also a really key function here in that the signal is sent via something called an action potential. Now, an action potential can sound a little bit complicated, so I've done a video directly about this. All you need to do is click the link that is alongside this video, and it will take you directly to a video all about action potentials. And that's basically explaining how a signal gets from one end of a nerve cell all the way through to the other end of the nerve cell. And this will give you really good clarity as to how that neuron is working. So neurons are really important for sending and receiving information to and from our brain, and they're a key part of being able to do anything in our day. It's not just about being able to send a signal if we step on something sharp, or if we want to be able to do something particular, or say something, or hear something. Everything happens via our neurons. That's all of our movements in our body. It's every time we write, every time we lift a weight, every single movement we do, every single action in our body happens as a result of our nervous system. And that's all down to these little neurons in our body. So what I'd love to know is what your big takeaway has been from today. So if you'd like to drop a comment below, that would be fantastic. And if you want more help to pass your level 2 Anatomy and Physiology exam, then make sure you check out the link that is with this video, whereby we're going to invite you towards our revision bootcamp, whereby we help you pass your Anatomy and Physiology exam with simplicity and with confidence, so that you can pass first time. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.